Surah Aal Imran, the third chapter of the Qur'an, is often approached as a text of belief. But what if we also explored it as a document of logic, history, and human ethics? In this video, we'll take a closer look, not just to understand what this surah says, but to ask, why does it say it? What are its strengths? And what questions does it invite us to consider? 1. Theological core, the oneness of God. The surah begins with a bold declaration. Allah, there is no deity except Him, the ever-living, the sustainer of all existence. This isn't just an article of faith, it's a profound metaphysical claim. It describes God not only as singular, but as the necessary being behind all of reality. Interestingly, this mirrors philosophical reasoning across traditions, from Aristotle's unmoved mover to Islamic thinkers like Ibn Sina. The Quran's argument aligns with the idea that everything dependent points towards something independent, something eternal. This foundation is intellectually compelling, especially for those seeking more than ritual, something rooted in reason. At the same time, one might ask, does this metaphysical certainty resonate in a modern world shaped by materialism? For some, it may feel unprovable. Yet, the surah doesn't demand blind belief, it proposes coherence and invites thought. 2. Scriptural continuity. Surah Aal Imran goes on to highlight a key idea. Revelation is a continuum. It states that the same God who revealed the Quran also sent down the Torah and the Gospel. This challenges the notion of religious rivalry. Islam doesn't position itself as disconnected, it sees itself as completing a shared divine message. Historically, the Quran's claim that earlier scriptures were altered has drawn interest. Scholars have studied textual variations across biblical manuscripts, some of which support the idea that core teachings were edited or lost over time. From this angle, the Quran's assertion of preservation and correction carries weight. Yet it raises questions too. Some may feel this framing dismisses the full validity of Judaism and Christianity. But the surah seems less concerned with discrediting and more focused on aligning all prophets under a single truth, sincere submission to God. 3. Jesus, Mary, and the miracle of creation. In a chapter named after a prophetic family, the story of Mary and Jesus takes center stage. The Quran honors Mary as chosen and pure, and affirms the virgin birth of Jesus. But it draws a different conclusion than Christian doctrine. The surah makes a provocative comparison. The likeness of Jesus before Allah is like that of Adam. He created him from dust. The point here is logical. If Jesus's miraculous birth implies divinity, what about Adam, who had no parents at all? It's a clever and accessible argument. It uses reason to reframe a theological claim, affirming Jesus's prophetic role while maintaining pure monotheism. Still, some may see this analogy as too simplistic, especially when compared to the complexity of Christian Trinitarian theology. But from within the Quranic worldview, it holds firm, grounded in consistency, not contradiction. 4. History, humility, and lessons from battle. The surah doesn't limit itself to theology, it also engages history. It recounts two pivotal battles in early Islam, Badr, a miraculous victory, and Uhud, a painful lesson. At Badr, Muslims were outnumbered and underprepared, yet they won. At Uhud, They faltered, and the reason, according to the Qur'an, wasn't fate, but failure. You disputed and disobeyed after God showed you victory. What's striking here is how openly the Qur'an criticizes its own community. It doesn't glorify war or cover up mistakes. Instead, it points to human flaws, arrogance, disunity, overconfidence, as the reason for setbacks. This level of self-criticism is rare in religious texts. It gives the surah credibility, showing that divine guidance doesn't override human responsibility. Some might ask, if divine support is real, why allow failure at all? The answer the surah gives is clear: guidance is a path, not a guarantee. Success still depends on human discipline and faithfulness. 5. Mubahala, a test of sincerity. Another unique moment in the surah is the event of Mubahala, a public, spiritual challenge offered to a group of Christian leaders from Najran. The Prophet invites them to invoke God's curse upon whoever is lying. This wasn't about aggression or debate victory. It was about truth and the willingness to stand before God with full conviction. The Christians decline, choosing diplomacy. From one view, this shows the confidence of the Islamic message, willing to be tested in a sincere, peaceful setting. To others, such a challenge might seem confrontational, but when seen in context, it's more about accountability than antagonism. 6. Beyond labels, faith versus inherited identity. Perhaps the most challenging verse in the surah is this: whoever seeks a way other than Islam, it will not be accepted from them. On the surface, it sounds exclusive, but in Arabic, Islam here refers to sincere submission, not just the name of a religion, but a posture of heart and mind. The surah critiques religious identity as a badge of pride. It warns that being born into a tradition doesn't make one truthful or faithful. In a world where people often inherit belief without questioning it, this message cuts deep. It calls for conscious, personal faith, not passive tradition. Yet, for many in pluralistic societies, this claim may feel difficult to accept. Still, within the Quranic perspective, it's a call to spiritual honesty, not superiority. Final reflection. Surah Aal Imran offers far more than theological doctrine. It weaves together logic, emotion, and ethics, history with vision, and belief with reason. It invites believers to reflect deeply and act responsibly, and it challenges skeptics to engage, not blindly, but thoughtfully. Its strengths lie in its intellectual integrity, historical honesty, and spiritual challenge. And while not every question finds a simple answer, the surah never shies away from being questioned. That, perhaps, is its greatest strength of all. Thank you for spending time with us. If this video inspired reflection, we invite you to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. In our next video, we'll explore Surah An-Nisa, continuing our journey of reasoned exploration through the Qur'an.